Dancing between trees, I prowled in search of my quarry. Now, I'd made a deal with the forest not to hunt the fauna, but this was different. I was seeking the one who wrecked my camp and killed my chickens. The anger and frustration were palpable as I approached my mark. This was revenge, and I would make sure he paid in blood. But it wasn't always this way. Let me take you back to the beginning of the week. My week began with the return to the land.
You make me nervous. I think I might be hooked on you.
I had been gone the previous week editing my latest video, and I was excited to return. I had a ton of things I wanted to try, but I wanted to make sure I did them right. There's an old saying that goes something like, you can have it 2 of 3 ways: good, fast, and cheap.
I'm home.
In my previous 30 days, I tried to do things fast and cheap, and ultimately I sacrificed quality for it.
The parts that are caved in and such actually looks really nice. It's a shame that I can't build this way.
So this time I wanted to make sure to slow things down and do things well and correctly so I could maintain my $0 budget while still getting quality works.
Okay, so what's happening is as the rain comes down, there's so much volume of water coming down that the ground isn't able to soak it all up, so it just rushes off into the creek. With it goes some of the topsoil. So what I'm hoping to do and what I'm trying to do here is map out a place where the most water goes through and then see if I can spread it out so that the heavier stuff sinks, so that the topsoil and stuff sinks, but the clay goes through. And we tried it up there with the leaf bed and it works really good. So we're gonna do it a similar thing here, this way, because this looks like where the most water goes through and it looks like it'll be the easiest to prep. So let's begin.
Talking to the night into the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think we were meant to be.
As I entered my camp, something felt off. Everything looked pretty much the same, but something seemed different somehow. I worked on cleaning up my camp, and about halfway through the day, it finally struck me.
Well, I returned, and what I found waiting for me was kind of sad. There's only 2 chickens left, from what I can see. This is Grumpy Pants and a Goldie. I'll have to ask my neighbor what happened to the other 4, but from what I can tell, this is all that's left. It's good to see that some of them survived, but I am bummed that we're missing 4 of them. So yeah, today is gonna be...
When my neighbor returned the following day, I asked him what had happened, and he said, "Well, I got hungry." Nah, I'm just kidding. He said the day after I left, something began to peck away at the chickens, leaving only the 2. I knew my luck with predators had been too good the previous month, so now it kind of felt like I was just paying the piper. I set aside the loss and moved onwards. One of the things I wanted to do was work on the garden, and thanks to my unsuspecting brother, I now had walking onion transplants. Obviously, I wasn't gonna let them go to waste. These are hands down my favorite onions to grow because they're just super easy. Once they become established, all you really have to do is keep them from going too wild. In that respect, they're a lot like my peppermint plant Pudding, who's just living his best life taking over the lower layer. But my gardening plans didn't stop at onions. I had spinach and tomato transplants that I had locked up for the entire previous month, and this week I wanted to make sure they got the space they deserved. Thanks to some silt traps I'd set up at the end of last month, gathering the soil was now a lot easier.
Okay, I may have been a little overzealous with the amount of tomatoes I brought with me. I can only fit 2 in this bed, and I brought a few more than 2, so I think I'm gonna plant the rest of them in the forest and hope that they grow. So, let's get to it.
It took me about 3 days to get the garden looking like this. Pathetic, I know, but I was proud of it, and now my sights shifted to other things. I had had some time to think about how to build lasting structures, and I had a few good ideas. My brother-in-law suggested compressed earth bricks, and I have to say at first I didn't think they would work, but after realizing that the bricks I'd made prior were in mint condition while the rest of my house was not, I started designing and building a press from the local resources. It wasn't long though before my camp was attacked yet again, and this time the raccoons targeted everything.
I'm gonna guess it was the same raccoon that killed my chickens, but he's back to mess with my potatoes. He wrecked my cooler, which is unfortunate. And he knocked over my peanut butter and punctured a hole in the lid. How rude is that? I don't know what I'm gonna do to keep him at bay. I got 1 chicken left.
The somber loss of Mrs. Grumpy Pants made me want revenge, but the remaining chicken seemed much worse off than me.
Look, don't do it, man. Come on down, we can talk this out. Just come on down. Everything's gonna be okay. Just come on down, and don't jump.
I decided to continue focusing on the compressed earth block machine in hopes it would cheer her up, and after much trial and error, and I do mean a lot of trial and error.
Okay, so I've tried a couple things, and it looks like the box just can't hold it. I need it so that these 4 sides can slide off, because I don't have a way to slide the brick through. Ooh, maybe I do.
I finally had a decently working system.
Yeah, check it out. And you just clean up the edges. You got yourself a fine brick.
And it worked great for, a time.
It looks like the force exerted is too great, but it looks like this was split. I think the best way to do this might honestly be to get some concrete and pour a mold with like 4 to 6 inch walls or something. But I did get like 25 bricks made.
It's not a lot of bricks, I know, but hey, a win is a win, so I'll take it. It was late in the day, so I washed up and readied myself for the fight to come. I sat bow in hand, waiting for the raccoon to show himself, but that night, he never did. When the sun rose on Thursday morning, I decided to take the fight to him. I looked in a few spots he might be living, but I couldn't find him. I filmed random stuff for the majority of the day, and when night fell once again, I sat ready. The fight that ensued was brutal. Not that I can show you because my camera doesn't record at night. And also, I'm not sure if it's kosher to show dead animals, but just know I got him, but missed her and her children. There was a whole family.
Bye, chicken.
My hopes is that the loss of their leader will keep them away for the time being, but I wouldn't expect too much.
So is it like on video?
It's on video. So you can wave. I'll throw it in my next weekly video. And...
Alright.
With 1 chicken remaining, my protein supply has dwindled quite a bit, and I'm afraid I may not be able to survive on what I have had so far. That being said, there's always hope.
Check out these apples. They're not actually apples, but each of these heads are just wild onions.
My quest for blood isn't over, and I suspect it may never be truly over. Revenge is just one side of the 20-sided dice I call living. Like the title says, this is only episode 1, so I hope you're having fun. I know I am, but until I see you in the field, happy hunting.